This is Smokin' Dave, and you're listening to a man who just binge-watched an entire season of the show Fauda in under 36 hours. It's the Kevin Friedman Show.
Hey now, it's Tuesday, July 24th, and another SportsGossip.com podcast is on the air. I'm your host, Kevin Friedman, along with my announcer, Smokin' Dave, and together we will bring you 10 of the hottest stories off the SportsGossip.com website. Now, as Dave mentioned in the intro, I've been watching this show Fauda on Netflix, and it is fantastic. It's very similar to Narcos, except instead of cops versus drug dealers, it's cops versus terrorists. So if you have Netflix, I highly recommend it.
Does it have nudity?
Yeah, if you wait about 10 episodes, you get a little boobage.
What about Wang?
No, Dave, sorry, there's no Wang. Now give us the first story.
Colts GM says Andrew Luck is good to go for training camp.
Yes, Colts GM Chris Ballard met with reporters on Friday and told them Luck is good to go for training camp. He won't have any limitations, but isn't expected to be allowed to throw 7 days straight. Now, the Colts only won 4 games last year without Luck, and they have improved the offensive line. But as far as skill positions, Luck does not have a lot to work with. The running backs are second-year player Marlon Mack and Robert Turbin. And while wide receiver T.Y. Hilton is a very solid option, Ryan Grant and Chester Rogers at number 2 and 3 easily make the Colts one of the weakest wide receiver groups in the NFL. So as good as Andrew Luck is, he's not going to have very much talent around him. So if I was GM Chris Ballard, I'd be on the phone with Des Bryant's agent right now trying to get a deal done. Because if he doesn't think he's a huge upgrade over Ryan Grant and Chester Rogers, then he's crazy. In fact, if I was a Colts fan, which thank God I'm not because their owner's a dummy who likes to spend money on Alcoholics Anonymous papers instead of players, but if I was a Colts fan, I'd be demanding they go sign Des Bryant. I mean, it only makes too much sense. Now, even with this diminished talent, I still say the Colts will improve their record by at least 4 games, so they're looking at about 8-8, which is not going to cut it in the AFC South, where you have Jacksonville and Tennessee, and a Houston team that should be improved with a healthy Deshaun Watson. So the bottom line is, Colts fans should be happy Luck's back, but I wouldn't get my hopes up for the playoffs. Now, Dave, what's next?
Tiger Woods starts at 16-1 to win PGA.
After notching his first major top 10 finish since 2013 on Sunday at the Open Championship, the Westgate Las Vegas Superbook has Woods tied for 4th best odds to win the PGA Championship at 16-1. He's tied with Ricky Fowler and Justin Thomas. Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, and Dustin Johnson all opened as the 3 co-favorites at 12-1. Now, Tiger even got me to take a break from watching Fauda for a couple hours just to watch him play, and I never watch golf. NBC benefited big time with huge ratings, and you know CBS is now praying Tiger's in contention on Sunday for the PGA Championship as well, because that's the only way guys like me are going to watch. And not only was I disappointed because Tiger didn't win, I also didn't hear one Baba Booey or hit him with the hind the whole time I watched. Although I did see that guy yell out in the middle of Tiger's swing, and there should be some kind of rule in golf. The golfer should be allowed to jack that guy in the face. The rule should be, the crowd points out the guy who yelled, Tiger gets to walk up to him, and last Boy Scout style, punch him in the head or the gut. His choice. But either way, it was great to see Tiger in contention for a major on a Sunday, and let's hope he can continue to keep up performances like that, not for just golf fans' sakes, but for the network's sakes. Now, Dave, what's next?
Jimmy Garoppolo went on a date with porn star Kiera Mia.
Yes, Jimmy G and Kiera Mia hit up Avra in Beverly Hills the other night. They walked in arm and toasted with wine at the dinner table. And at the end of the date, cameras caught him walking back to the car, and Jimmy G had quite a smile on his face. And if you go to sportsgossip.com to check out the pictures of Kiera, you'll understand why. You can also check out a video of the two at dinner at sportsgossip.com. And congrats to Jimmy G on his big night. And if you look at these pictures, you'll understand what I mean by big. Now, Dave, what's next?
Ex-ESPN host Britt criticizing Jimmy Garoppolo and porn star Kiera Mia's date night.
Now, I already hated Britt McHenry before this story, but now I hate her even more. If you don't know who she is, she used to be a reporter for ESPN, who, let's face it, was hired because she's a good-looking girl, and that's it. And when she was working at ESPN, she was caught up in a controversy where she got her car towed, and then was caught on video at the tow truck company berating employees, telling them how ugly they are and uneducated they are, and how much better of a person she was than them. It was disgusting, and it showed what type of person she is, which is gorgeous on the outside, but ugly on the inside. Now, ESPN fired her shortly after that controversy, and I have no clue where she works now, but she still goes on Twitter, I guess, to try and grab attention, and she has some balls to go criticizing Jimmy G, saying because he's a franchise quarterback, he shouldn't be dating porn stars? Hey, Britt, porn stars are people too. There's nothing illegal about what they do, and let's face facts, the internet is great. You can check your email, you can go to sports websites, news websites, talk to family members. But the best thing about the internet is porn. And any guy who tells you different is lying. And porn stars should have nothing to be ashamed of. If you ask me, they're national heroes. So Britt McHenry, next time you decide to go on Twitter and start criticizing someone you don't even know, just do the world a favor and shut your phone off, because nobody cares. Now, Dave, what's next?
Jimmy Garoppolo's porn star date Kiera Mia responds to Britt McHenry.
To further prove my point that Kiera Mia is 10 times more classy of a woman than Britt McHenry, Kiera took the high road when she responded on social media. She went on Snapchat and posted a message to Brittany, basically saying why hate on a girl when you can compliment them. You can check out the message yourself at sportsgossip.com.
You know, I just thought of a good idea.
Oh yeah, what's that, Dave?
Britt McHenry and Kiera Mia should both sign up for my nude mud wrestling class on Thursday nights. Then they could just settle this in the ring.
You know what, Dave? You've asked me to go to that nude mud wrestling class about 5 times, and I've told you no chance. But if you get those two to fight, I'm in.
I'll keep you posted.
Please do. And that's 5 stories down. We got 5 to go, but we got to take a break, so we'll be back right after this.
Hello, this is sports memorabilia expert Big Dong, and I have a very special item for sale. I have Game 1 jockstrap from Jimmy Garoppolo from Week 16 of 2017 season. I sell to you. I give you good deal. You contact me. It's a bigdog@yahoo.com. Thank you.
And we're back. Man, we got a lot of Jimmy Garoppolo in this show. Even Big Dong's getting in on the action. Speaking of which, let's get back to it. Dave, give us that next story.
Porn site xblaze.com offers Jimmy Garoppolo spokesman job.
Well, since Jimmy's willing to date porn stars out in the public, the marijuana-themed porn site xblaze.com fired an offer letter to Jimmy, hoping to sign him as a spokesperson. They say they want him to, quote, be an advocate of marijuana and cannabinoids, whatever those are, as well as the adult entertainment industry. And like I said earlier, while there's nothing wrong with dating a porn star, I'm pretty sure if Jimmy signs as a spokesperson for this company, he might get in a little trouble with the NFL. So I don't think it's going to happen. And who watches marijuana-themed porn anyways? I mean, who gets off on watching a girl smoking weed? You gotta be a total weirdo.
Hey, I'm a huge fan of marijuana-themed porn.
Like I said, total weirdo. In fact, how are you not the spokesman for them? Nobody smokes more weed, and nobody watches more porn. You're perfect.
Hey, xblaze.com. Give me a call, baby.
Well, while you're waiting for that call, I see we have a caller on the line. Let's go to him. Oh, it's LeBron James and Tom Brady's personal stylist, Fran Dito. What's up, Franny?
Kevin Friedman, how many stories are you gonna do about Jimmy Garoppolo? How about a little less Jimmy Garoppolo and a little more Tom Brady?
It sounds like you're a little jealous, Fran Dito. You know, I hate to break it to you, but it sounds like your client, Tom Brady, is the old news and Jimmy G is the hot news. And as a matter of fact, I happen to have a source that Jimmy G turned you down when you tried to get hired as his personal stylist. So it sounds to me like you're just a little jealous.
Well, how dare you, Kevin Friedman? How dare you? I'm
Always great to hear from LeBron James and Tom Brady's personal stylist, Frandito, who is not a fan of Jimmy G. So I'm guessing he's not going to like this next story. Dave, give it to us.
Jimmy Garoppolo denies ever having a girlfriend.
Well, over the past few months, Jimmy G has been out with a bunch of different chicks, and Sports Gossip has pretty much caught him out every time and posted pictures and an article, which you can check out at sportsgossip.com. Just go to the search bar and type in Jimmy Garoppolo, and you'll have no shortage of stories. He's taken Alexandra King to Disneyland. He was hanging out with a girl he dated in college in Chicago. He was caught outside with a blonde in a bar in San Jose. And most recently his porn star date with Kiera Mia. But Bleacher Report did a cover story on Jimmy, as they are doing their celebration of 2018's most influential people in the sports culture, and Jimmy tells Bleacher Report that he's single. He goes on to say he gets a bunch of crazy DMs, and that despite all these reports of him out with all these girls, he is a single man. And if you ask me, he's a very smart man to stay single. Unlike Aaron Rodgers, who's dating Danica Patrick, and I don't know if anybody watched the ESPYs, but they did a skit together, and it was one of the most awkward things I've ever seen. If Aaron Rodgers was smart like Jimmy, he'd be going out with porn stars and different hot chicks every night of the week, but instead he's stuck with Danica Patrick, who again I'm sure is a great girl, but I'd much rather be in Jimmy's position. And that's our final story on Jimmy Garoppolo for the day. Now Dave, what's next?
Josh Hader's teammates stood behind him as he addressed the media in Milwaukee.
The Brewers' all-star reliever met with the media on Friday to discuss the racist tweets he sent out as a 17-year-old that were discovered during the all-star game and made public. You can go to sportsgossip.com to watch about a 1-minute video of him apologizing to the media, and his whole team is basically standing behind him supporting him. And I watched the video, and if you ask me, this guy's getting off too easy. I mean, he's basically telling reporters he's a changed man and it wasn't him who sent those tweets. It was a different guy. And I'm not saying he still is a racist, but he's talking like he never sent those tweets, when he clearly did. He didn't seem to show much remorse in the video either, and he got a standing ovation from the crowd in his first game back, which really baffles me. I mean, what are they giving him a standing ovation for? The fact that he used to be a racist and now he's not? These fans are insane. And the real lesson of this story is that if you use Twitter to spread hate or to insult people or even just give your opinion, then you're using it wrong. Because in the long run, nobody cares about your opinion, and all you're really doing is exposing yourself as a moron. The only thing any celebrity or athlete or any public figure should put on Twitter should be promotional material or positive messages. For instance, I follow this Bears insider for Sports Mockery named Eric Lambert, and he was at training camp yesterday and posted a series of tweets giving in-depth detail of the Bears and what was going on. So I sent him a tweet saying he's doing a fantastic job. That's how you use Twitter. It's amazing to me that all these people are not smart enough to realize if you have something negative to say, you keep it to yourself. Now, Dave, what's next?
Hold on, I'm sending a tweet. At Kev on the radio, you're a loudmouth prick. Send. Okay, what now?
Ah, real funny, Dave. What's next?
David Johnson ends holdout and joins Cardinals camp.
Johnson, who virtually missed all of the 2017 season after he broke his wrist in Week 1's game against the Lions, is entering his final year of his rookie contract, and while he missed the team's mandatory camp during his holdout, he went on Twitter and posted a picture of himself with the Cardinals helmet on and the hashtag I'm back, which you can check out at sportsgossip.com. So he's ready for training camp and says he's fully healthy. And anyone who plays fantasy football will never forget the numbers he put up in 2016, which were incredible. At over 1,200 yards rushing, 16 rushing touchdowns, 80 catches, 900 yards receiving, and 4 receiving touchdowns. Now, most of the fantasy football mock drafts I've seen have Todd Gurley as the number 1 overall running back and Le'Veon Bell too. But if David Johnson is truly healthy and is going to put up anything close to those type of numbers, he could very well be the number 1 overall running back come draft time. Now, Dave, give us that final story.
The official look at Lindsey Vonn, Aaron Rodgers, and Rob Gronkowski for Shark Week.
Yes, you can go to sportsgossip.com to see a picture of the 3 athletes underwater with a huge shark, as they are taking part in Discovery's Shark Week. Now, I love watching sharks on TV. I won't go in the ocean, but I love shark movies, shark documentaries. But if you ask me, Shark Week is played out. I mean, you know you're not going to see an attack, because if one were to happen, it's too graphic for the Discovery Channel. These days, if you want great shark footage, you go to Instagram or YouTube. You could spend hours watching much better footage than they have on Shark Week on the Discovery Channel. And that's why they have to resort to getting athletes like Aaron Rodgers and Rob Gronkowski just to get people to watch. And why would either of those two want to go diving with sharks? And why would their organizations let them do that? Athletes have clauses that they can't ride motorcycles. How is swimming with sharks any safer? I mean, if a shark bites Aaron Rodgers' hand off, the entire city of Green Bay will have a heart attack. But again, if you want to see this picture, go to sportsgossip.com, and I'll close out the show with some great advice. If you don't want to get eaten by a shark, don't go in the ocean. And that'll wrap it up for another sportsgossip.com podcast. I want to thank my announcers Smokin' Dave, thanks to Frank Tito for calling in, and of course, thank you for listening. As always, for these stories and much, much more, you can go to sportsgossip.com. Our next podcast is Friday, and until then, we'll see you next time.